Are you a chosen one or are you a lab rat? Chosen one or lab rat? How do you feel? How do you feel? You know, people think that this king stalking thing is something new, that is something trending. But in reality, they have done this for years and years and years. And there is always a pattern of the people who go through this. Intellectuals, highly gifted people, highly intuitive people, highly sensitive people, very powerful channelers and psychics, mediums. The people who are a connection to the spiritual world. Yes, intellect is also a gift, even though maybe you don't perceive it that way. It is a gift. People who have a great intellect and who have a very strong attraction for knowledge and reading books and researching things and stuff like that are people who have been known for kind of challenging the status quo. You know, sometimes, most of the times, authority figures don't like that because it requires change. So some of you are intellectuals and you also have other gifts on top of that. They used to call them witches, women who knew too much or who had a very strong truth or who were too bold or who fit in this Lilith archetype. They used to burn them. They used to burn them at the stake. And they still do this, just that the burning is not, it doesn't look the same. But you know, now they shame you, isolate you, they exclude you from society. So they don't really have to burn you alive. They can still try to unalive you in different ways. And this is because, sadly, these people, what they want to do is erase the ones who hold the highest frequencies, because we are the ones who can bring more light into the planet. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a very dark planet. It's sad that it's happening, but there is a pattern. And the people who are going through this are the earth angels, basically. The people who have the power to channel beautiful, important energies to shift the collective awareness and to raise the vibration of the planet. They're isolating us, they are harassing us, and they are turning people against us because, you know, energies are contagious, whether you like to accept it or not. So when you are an energetic being, an energetic God, you do have the power to shift the consciousness and the awareness and the vibration of everybody around you. So this is why they try to isolate us and to turn people against us, because that way they can slow down or prevent the Great Awakening. This is the goal. This is the main goal, right? So today I want to talk about gifts. And I know you've been wanting me to talk about this. You need this as a form of protection, and because some of you are already being called to step in and start speaking your truth. If you're feeling this, it's because you are ready, and you will be supported, and you will be guided, and you will be protected in doing so. Now, there are different kinds of gifts. I was researching a little bit here, a blog written by Brian Blazowski, and he has different perspective, but I still want to read it because these ones are important as well. But I'm gonna go a little bit deeper than this. These are the gifts that have been normalized and that are accepted in society. This involves prophecy, teaching, words of wisdom, words of knowledge, distinguishing spirits, and interpreting tongues. This can be also interpreting the Bible. People who are very good at reading the Bible and interpreting the message, right? Another gift is serving. Can be leading other people, giving other people, charity, activism, and he puts here miracles also. But I have other perspective because I'm a little bit more into the spiritual side. So I want to talk about the clairs. We have 4: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and
Claircognizance.
The first one is clairvoyance. It's the supposed faculty of perceiving things or events in the future or beyond normal sensory contact. It's having the ability to see beyond the range of ordinary perception. Some of you say you love my accent, but I struggle.
Faculty.
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 Idiot. The nature of this clairvoyance is predictive. Means sometimes you can have visions of something that may happen or will happen, or an image that can give you a clue to an action that you must take, or a direction that you must go in, or just something that God and your guides want you to pay attention to. So clairvoyance has to do a lot with your imagination. People who have a very developed imagination, it's easy for you to imagine things and create shapes and forms and just see beyond this world. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. Another way to know that you have this gift is that you probably don't think logically. You think more in shapes or in colors. Maybe you just know things about people or places or situations before you actually know it. Maybe you have vivid dreams that often come to fruition. It can be also seeing future events, which is precognition, witnessing past events, retrocognition, perceiving distant locations and people, visions of spirits or deceased relatives. And the chakra of this gift is the third eye. You have a very strong third eye. This is one of the most difficult gifts to master, but some people are born with it and they are very good at it since they are very young. And sometimes what happens is that because they don't have the right education and they don't have the support from their families, they don't know what's going on in their reality, so they start medicating them, and it's a very sad reality what they have to go through, because the world is not prepared for accepting this about human beings. But as we raise our consciousness, these truths are going to be accepted more and more, because there is more and more of us, and as we become also more sensitive, and as we raise our frequencies, as we clean our systems, we will be able to tap into these gifts. And the truth is that the conditioning runs deep and the planet is very low vibrational. People operate in energies of fear and shame and jealousy, so they cannot really see what's going on. They are easily manipulated into going against the people who are actually here to support them. So it's sad, right? But this is why some of these people genuinely think that they are doing something good for their community. So another gift is clairaudience. It's an extrasensory power where you hear things outside of your usual sensory channels, a way of hearing or communicating with those that others cannot see, and is a way of receiving psychic messages. You may hear voices, music, or other sounds that other people don't hear, that may or may not be from other dimensions. You can also have a very strong inner voice that guides you, or you may even hear complete conversations as a form of guidance or awareness that needs to be integrated. Now, you see how dangerous this can be if you don't have the right education. People can accuse you of being completely crazy because you haven't domesticated this. So since the outside world is designed to gaslight everybody who has gifts, it's very important that we protect the ones who are most vulnerable right now. There are chosen beings who are surrounded by very dangerous people. And if we don't spread the voice, sadly, something like Tyra's case can happen. If you have some wisdom about this, please put it in the comments, because it helps more than you know. So it's auditory information, guidance, can also be the ringing in your ears. There is an emotional component to this information, this guidance, whether it's in the form of music or in the form of whispers, or there is emotional reaction to it that relates specifically to you, and this is how you know that is real.
You need to fix the flat. Grab the ginger.
I tell you this because these king stalkers, they have some form of technology that can emulate a gifted person or the things that happen to a gifted person. But the way that you know if it's real or not is because there is emotional information there. You cannot develop your gifts if you are disconnected from your emotional body. Another way that this one shows up is the music. Spirit loves using music to communicate with the clairaudience. If you know me, you already know. There's always some songs that can only relate to you. Only you know the meaning of it. You know the story of it. And it pops up right when you need it, or right when you're asking for help, or right when Spirit needs you to focus on something, or Spirit needs your attention. There will be meaning, there will be purpose, there will be guidance. It's not random noise. They be trying to emulate this with the voice of God. They have something called voice of God. I know how the voice of God sounds, so don't be telling me nothing about it. Okay? The chakra of this gift is the throat. It has to do with communication, with voice, frequencies. It's all about frequency and sound. If you're a clairaudient, become also very conscious of the state of your throat chakra to be able to develop it. Next, we have clairsentience, extrasensory power where you can sense other people's emotions. Clairsentience is clear feeling. You receive energy through feelings and visuals, not visible to others. It's a psychic ability to perceive emotional or spiritual energy through feelings, bodily sensations, and intuitions. You may feel the emotions of others as if they were your own. You can also sense past events in a person's life or in a location. When your clairsentience is telling you about a place, about the energy of a place, never ignore it. This is where empaths are masters. And this is why we are targets also, because narcissistic people, they feel very attracted to us, but at the same time they resent us because they don't realize that most of their life they have been disconnected from their emotional bodies. So what happens is that when they encounter an empath, the empath is making them feel all this energy that they have been avoiding. So it can be very triggering for a person who still holds a lot of narcissistic traits in their consciousness to encounter an empath. You are going to be triggered. It's very triggering to find a person who has a developed emotional intelligence. We are mirrors to people, and this is why sometimes they do not understand why they feel so attracted to us, but at the same time there is an energy of resentment and jealousy there. It's because an empath can remind you of all the things that you have been avoiding. So accept the mirror that we bring to the table instead of rejecting it. Because once you accept the mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror, you can integrate the parts of yourself that you have been neglecting. And this is necessary for the evolution of the human consciousness. So an empath can feel all kinds of things. And this is why some people really need to isolate. And it's not because we hate people, it's because most people spend their lives neglecting their emotions, their traumas. So we feel and can see your trauma. It can be very uncomfortable to find a person who can do that because you feel very naked. It triggers a lot of things in you. You don't understand why this person is bringing all of this in you. This mirror can be very intense for some people. Not everybody is capable of standing in that mirror. So an empath, especially an empath who has been empowered, because to be empowered as an empath, you need to have strong boundaries. And this is the training that God has been putting me through. You know, He told me, set clear boundaries, because when you set clear boundaries and when you stop giving your energy and entrance to your body to people who are disempowered, to people who don't have a spiritual hygiene, you absorb all of these because your nervous system as an empath functions differently. So what's happening now is that we're seeing that society is not developed enough to accept, understand, and integrate people like us. We are rejected and shamed and ostracized and isolated and outcasted because we see too much. Your energy can trigger things in people and you're just like sitting quietly in a place, right? This is what happens when you develop this gift. The boundaries, this is how you're going to be able to separate the energies that belong to you and the energies that are not yours. As an empath, you will feel sometimes afraid or shameful to set these boundaries because the conditioning tells you to be everything for everybody. So when you step to the other side and you start taking care of yourself, this can be also very triggering to people. People are used to extract from the empath. It's a constant extraction. And then the empath becomes strained. She doesn't realize that she's numbing herself or he's numbing himself because all these feelings can be very overwhelming. It can also be called somatic intuition. Somatic is about the body. You feel energies, you feel emotions in a very intense way. So people will call you dramatic, people will call you too sensitive, people will call you too much because your system is not like theirs. If you're still disempowered, chances are that your empathy and compassion for other people are very high, but when it comes to yourself, you still don't know how to show up for yourself, how to give yourself empathy, how to give yourself compassion, how to forgive yourself for the things that you do or for the ways that you hurt yourself or others. You can not only sense a person's emotions, but you can also sense residual energy. So this is why isolation and domesticating this gift and your boundaries and your meditations are necessary, because when it comes to energy and you're feeling residual energy and emotions from other people in very low vibrational spaces, you go to the club and you're with a bunch of people who are doing substances. This can be very confusing to your system. You numb yourself to not feel all these feelings, and then when you go home, you start feeling all from everybody and your stuff, you push it away. So what happens is, because it's too much, you don't want to be alone anymore, so you fall into this cycle because being alone can be a lot. So to heal as an empath, you do have to take some time to release what you have been carrying that's not yours, so that you can understand. Trust me when I say, I know that it seems that you will never be able to feel peace as an empath, but you do need to take the time to release it, to understand your system, and you will have your peace. So be patient with yourself and understand what other people shame in you, what other people neglect in you is actually your biggest blessing and the biggest service that you are here to provide. As an HSP, you can also identify illnesses. It's very easy for you to see when a person is sick, and sometimes the person doesn't even know that they're sick, but you can sense it. And you can sense also when that person is medicated. And if you don't have the education and you don't have the grounded system, this can be very confusing to you. But it's because you are picking up on all these things, right? Another thing about empaths is that we are very good listeners. People open up to you. They feel very attracted to your energy. They feel like they can tell you all their stories. They open up to you about things that they don't tell anybody. And it's because your energy is naturally very welcoming, because you're here to heal. You're here to receive and to create a space for people who need to, work with their emotional bodies. So yes, your sensitivity has a purpose. Some empaths can also decode auras. You sit next to someone and you can kind of sense maybe textures or densities or maybe colors. And sometimes you become sad and you don't know why. Where is this sadness coming from? You were in the coffee shop and the person next to you is depressed, and you picked up on that, and you take it home and you don't know how to release it, and then at night you're just like, I want to drink because I don't know why am I so sad. There's a lot of women who have this gift, and they don't know that the reason that they are numbing themselves is because they have this gift. The chakras of Clairsentience, the sacral chakra, has to do with creation, with self-worth, with warmth, with connection. You have a very strong sacral chakra if you're an empath, because you are here to connect and to work in that environment. Your purpose is around that: creation, connection, humanity. You are very attracted to people, but in a way sometimes you can feel repelled by them because you haven't integrated that understanding. The other chakra of this gift is the heart. It's about high levels of empathy and high levels of compassion. What happens is sometimes these two chakras are very blocked because of habits or because of trauma, or there can be a lot of jealousy or the need to control people. And another gift is claircognizance. It's the psychic ability of clear knowing. It's where a person acquires knowledge, insights, or understanding about a situation or a person without knowing how they acquired it. It is characterized by sudden, undeniable awareness that seems to come from a source beyond the 5 physical senses, and logical reasoning. It functions as an intuitive internal compass to guide decisions and provide deeper insights. It operates purely in the realm of knowing. It's an instantaneous awareness. It can be a sudden flash of understanding or insight. It's a source beyond logic. Maybe it can be subtle depending on how connected are you to your emotional body, but you will receive also emotional confirmation. That the people who have this gift usually have high levels of awareness. They can see more than other people. They can see deeper. They have like a deeper understanding. Sometimes they know things that they don't understand how they know it, but then after a few years or a few months, then they see the confirmation of something they knew. So in essence, it's a spiritual or intuitive gift that allows you to just know things, bypassing the usual mental processes and relying on deep internal sense of truth. The chakras for these gifts are the solar plexus and the crown. The crown is all about knowing, and the solar plexus is all about willpower. If you want to connect with your claircognizance, then it's very important to implement movement and to work on your discipline and your willpower, because it's heavily connected with knowing things. Now, there are other gifts that are sometimes pushed away or not considered gifts. Most of the gifts that I described, the 4 clairs, have to do with sensitivity. If you're on the divergent spectrum, you probably have, high levels of sensitivity, high levels of awareness. You process and you understand information deeper and faster than other people. This can make you feel excluded from society because neurotypical people, they don't function the same. They have different scripts. They have different rules. So sometimes it can be difficult for divergents to integrate into society because it's not only about the sensitivity they carry, it's also about, we don't follow the same rule, the same hierarchy rules that most people follow. But these are things that are, heavily implemented in society. For empaths, for divergents, for highly sensitive people, for highly intuitive people, spiritual people, these things don't matter. When you're a person who operates in frequencies like knowledge or freedom or unity consciousness, you see the world in a totally different way. So sometimes people will find you not only threatening but also kind of insulting because you're not following the same rules that they have been following their entire lives, and then you become this huge mirror for them. This is why most of the times divergents are alone, they're isolated. And society loves excluding divergence, and they love also shaming people who like to isolate. It's not only painful, but it's also telling a person to neglect their entire reality. Please, let's stop trying to shame people into who we want them to be. If you're a divergent person, it has been probably a topic in your life where you have been scapegoated, where people have made you feel like it's not okay to be you. They have betrayed you, they have hurt you. It's a topic and it's a wound that most divergent people have. As we can see, this game stalking thing is, another huge topic. Society just wants to reject us forever, erase us. I put here the high levels of awareness is a gift, but it must be domesticated. Otherwise, it plays against you. You absorb too much from the environment, and you absorb too much, you know too much, you see too much. It can get you in trouble, right? And as we all guide each other towards more understanding, sometimes it's necessary to filter a little bit the things we channel from the other side. Okay, another gift is wisdom. This is where the intellectuals and the Claircognizance operate. They are usually very strong leaders, righteous people. I put here, wisdom is considered the first and the greatest of the gifts. It acts upon both the intellect and the will. And another gift that is highly underestimated is the gift of forgiveness. So if you're an empath, you are likely to have this gift. And yes, it's a gift because not everybody is able to forgive the way you forgive. You think sometimes that this is something that everybody is able to do, but in reality, because your heart chakra is not blocked, so it's easier for you to tap into higher energies and understanding and accepting. So forgiveness comes easier to you than to other people. The same thing with the claircognizance. Some of you are highly claircognizant and you think that it's common sense, but in reality, this is not common sense. This is, you have a gift that maybe you haven't mastered yet, but not everybody has it. So there is a lot of jealousy sometimes around this topic because people who can forgive easily, who can tap into high levels of wisdom, they can come as a threat to other people. You know, sometimes, yes, they hate your gifts. People hate your gifts because they don't understand, you know, why do they have this and I don't. Some people are here to assist in different areas. If you're a chosen one, you have been gifted with some of these things. Sometimes people will hate your truth or they will hate your energy because it contradicts a lot of things that they have been programmed with. You hold energetic codes, ancestral truths that can trigger so many emotions in the collective. And most of us chosen ones are doing heavy energy work and we are not even realizing it. The shift is here and it's been happening for a while now. And this is why, sadly, we are facing all this persecution. You know, there is resistance. People will always resist change and things that are new. Some people are genuinely scared. Like, remember that the energy of the planet is shame and fear in most places. They don't even realize that the rejection that they're projecting onto you comes from fear. Fear of accepting something new, fear of understanding or integrating new truths.